he just looks like a fucking treacherous cunt who can't be trusted.
Right. Start simple.
Yeah.
Where did you meet Pat?
I met him, I'd just come out of prison. I was like 18, near 18, and I went for an audition, and I bowled in late, cocky, didn't know who he was, and I'd just been taught the dirty wine in prison by the Jamaicans, and it hadn't hit Essex by then. 2 dolled up Essex birds, and I bowled in canvas, Converse boots, Levi's shorts and a white vest, no makeup. But back in the day I was a bit of a salt, so it was alright. Anyway, I ended up getting the job.
Where was this in?
We'd done the thing in Adlib. Remember Adlib Club?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You know, there was like they had dancers standing like around.
Yeah.
In the cages and that. That's how I first started. It took him a whole month to get a date out of me because I kept saying no. And the more I said no, obviously, the more, because he wasn't used to that, was he? He was used to birds flying. Anyway, in the end, I could see he had a bit of respect. I liked the way he rolled, basically, yeah. And he said, I'm going to ask you one last time. And he sent me a Vivian Westwood dress, some jewellery. I didn't even know who Vivian Westwood was, yeah. And I went out with him, and I started off as a mistress, but over time he realised I stopped him getting nicked one time when they would come through the roof. I don't know if you heard about this. Leon C, that nice luxury flat, Nipper was there, lived there, and me and Pat had the room at the back, yeah. I don't know the timeline on this bit, but we was laying in bed and he went shush, and on the side was a knuckle duster, coat, like bits that were getting nicked because he'd just come out, hadn't he, from a long time. He went shush, there's someone on the roof, right? And all of a sudden, I don't know why I'd done it, I was being born a criminal. I put a duvet around me, all I had was thongs. I shoved everything down my knickers, yeah, and then they come through. I started crying. I said, I want my mum, I want my mum. Acted like the young, innocent little girl. This is the 90s, you couldn't do it now. There wasn't one woman officer. So they let me go into the bathroom. It was a massive bathroom. And they had a shower there and the bath, circular bath there. Underneath the shower was like a drawer where you could put things. Push it back, yeah? I went to do that. Someone come in and said, are you ready? They drove me home to my mum's. Everything that would have got him put back in jail was down my knickers. So an hour later, he's come steaming up to my mum's, picked me up, threw me away and said, this is my mum. What was you eating when you was pregnant with this one? She's just saved me going back to jail. Yeah, so from that day, I sort of, I don't know if you remember, but I was with him kind of all the time. I know he had his little tarts now and again, but Sarah turned up at my house.
Do you remember the incident in Canvey Island when they were gonna nick the guy's kitchen, and Pat chinned him, and he called the police, and he was going off the island, and they stopped the van.
I remember doing the books for a fucking whorehouse. Pat had a whorehouse there, yeah, and he also had that Lorraine working for him who lived on the Purcell estate, yeah, and there was brasses all about. Remember Adele? Mm-hmm. And Adele was helping with that out, that lot there. I don't remember a van. I was always in the Porsche with him, always done up in his suits and that, but I was helping him. He didn't let me do no sort of work like that, do you know what I mean? He knew my whole entire family. I don't remember that incident, but the thing I remember about Canvey Island is there was a whorehouse there, and we used to go and pick up the dough. It was a massive house. I still remember the fireplace. It was a massive fireplace.
Can you remember, and I only found this out this week, it was just before they got shot, but he was only 6 weeks before he got shot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And him and Tucker did a debt for a bloke called Hines from Rayleigh, and they went up to Haverhill and got nicked. Well, they should have got nicked, but they got murdered beforehand.
Right.
It was a 15 grand debt, and the guy from Raleigh got 15 months for it in May 96.
Right.
Don't remember.
What I'm going to say here, I don't know if you can answer this, because I couldn't read or hear anything about it. Pat was shot twice, wasn't he?
3 times.
Right.
Chest. Oh, twice, sorry, yeah, twice.
And Tony and Craig got shot in the back of the head, didn't they?
3 times, yeah.
Right. What does that tell you, Bernie? Because I know what it tells me, that somebody stood over Pat, and that was personal.
Oh, I know.
that was resentment. Somebody stood over him, shot him, whilst he was in pain, dying, told him the reason why he was getting shot.
He was shot 3 times, actually. He was shot in... One skimmed his head, and there's like a graze on his head and smashed the window. And then shot him in the side. And they come round the back of the car and put the gun to his head through the window.
I think 2 people thought they were walking away from there.
Had you ever met Steele?
I think, like, through the, I've never sat down, Colton, he didn't like me hanging around. Remember he was with Donna, his bird who worked the doors.
Garwood?
I don't know, but he said I was a bad influence on her, because...
The young kid, like she was 15, 16, that Donna.
No, that was
Garwood.
Tony's Mrs. That was.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
I'm talking about the really blonde Tony that was Colton's girlfriend.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not the proper Mrs.
Yeah.
The girlfriend. She worked the doors. Now, they put me and Donna. I didn't know she was that age. I thought she was my age, 18. Yeah. So she was my age.
Who, Garwood?
She weren't 15.
She was when she met him. Because
Well,
her mother
Tucker.
was the cleaner at Raquel's. Right?
She was with Tucker.
Yeah. She was 15,
They
16.
put us together in a house in Basildon.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but I ended up chinning her. So that's when he got me the flat down Argyle Road, near that big gym off London Road.
Mm-hmm.
He got me a flat on my own. Because, like, that's why I got the nickname.
Well, why did you end up chinning her?
Just because she thought, just the way she was. You know, 2 young girls in the house together, didn't know each other. And I've got more of a boisterous side to me. And I didn't have no bullshit from the day I was born. And something happened, something silly, and I ended up chinning her. But that's when Pat got me in the flat. So I didn't know. So this is where the word nonsense is coming from, basically. I think because Tony, right, in the beginning, Tony thought that I was going to be a little plaything for both of them. But I pulled Pat aside and I said, that's not going to happen. I said, like, I'll be with you. And then Tony looked like he accepted it, but I think he resented it. And he thought I was old Bill as well, because Pat took me to Wimpy's. You know where the Bell is? And there used to be a Wimpy's there. And he took me there and he went, Tony thinks you're old Bill. He said, I know you're not. He said, and they put me on a little test. I won't say what that is right now. And I passed the test, basically. And but people were getting resentful that I had Savvy and Nipper wasn't really needed no more. And he got very resentful towards me. So before I go off on a tangent, yeah, I've even forgotten the fucking question because I've got so much, my head's spinning right now, yeah.
It's about Donna. Garwood.
Right. All I know about her is she thought she was nice. This is the brown head, yeah. She's the one who sold stories and shit like that, ain't she? I've chinned her, that's the last time I saw her. And then I used to see her about in the clubs and Pat used to tell me not to do that.
Did you ever meet Heidi? She was even younger.
I probably did, but I thought all these girls were... Looking back as an adult, yeah, I thought all these girls, what you're telling me now, were my age, yeah. Heidi, who was she with?
Tony, she was 14, 15, she was.
Right. So all these girls, I never knew that. I thought Donna was my age. Yeah, I only thought Tony had Donna and Anna because I stayed at their house, number 1 Diamond Close, where they lived in Chafford 100.
Yeah, I know.
You
Yeah.
know when it first went up? Tony had a house there, and then Craig had one behind because apparently they made Craig look a gangster, haven't they? But he was just what Nipper was, basically a little gopher. But Nipper, they all started getting a bit resentful towards me because Pat told my uncle only told me this a couple of years ago. He said, look what they're doing, Paula. He said, Pat wouldn't want you living like this. He said, and then making money, yeah? He said, why don't you just do it? And I said, I can't do it, yeah? But that was then, and then I'm seeing and hearing all this stuff. But what you're telling me about the ages of these girls, who told you that?
I know it, I've seen the
Oh,
paperwork, yeah. When she was on trial, when she would give evidence at the trial, she told him she was 15. When she met him, yeah.
Really?
Mm.
See, I run away. No one could get hold of me.
Yeah. And what about, I'll tell you what I've done. I've made little notes of what people have said.
Right.
Not saying they're true.
No, I'll correct you.
Sure you will. Right.
I hope you've got a filter on that. Make me look 10 years younger.
Don't worry about that. Sean Miller, did you know Sean? Doesn't matter if you know.
I can't remember names, I just remember faces. I've got a lot of head trauma.
Did you remember Russell's girlfriend Anna, the one he got nicked with in Spain?
I remember his missus,
Debbie,
and they had 2 young boys. Because we used to go to his house in Hadley, you know.
Yeah. I wouldn't involve his kids, so I wouldn't ask about that.
No. I used to meet the missus, like the proper ones, and I met his mum, and I know he had a brother called Terence. I think he's just coming out of jail or something.
Because he wasn't Pat's proper brother, you know that, didn't you?
I don't know, he didn't speak.
He was his
that
half
much to me.
brother. And did you know Adele was seeing Russell?
I knew something was going on, but he
Not-
was said and
yeah.
not told, you know what I mean?
Because that was kind of a weird setup, because he'd take her to dinner when Debbie was there, do you know what I mean?
Because they made out that Pat was seeing her.
Oh, is that what they said?
They made out, because Pat said to me, listen darling, this ain't like, we've got to, don't chin her, yeah? He said it because it's not for real, yeah? So, that's what the setup was.
I'm going to read this to you. It's from a wonderful girl called Melanie Monk.
Oh my God.
This is what Melanie said.
Oh my God.
I'll read it. I already knew Pat had been killed because I had 2 regional crime squad come to my house when it was still dark and ask if I knew Pat. There was plainclothes police officer and a uniform one. The one in uniform was quiet and respectful. He took off his hat and bowed
Your Majesty.
his head. He was very young. The plainclothes policeman was very well turned out, suited and booted, haircut, no stubble. I had to let them in my house, and the plainclothes man asked if I knew Pat Tate. I said yes. He actually laughed and said, you won't be seeing him again. He's just had his brains blown out. It was dark when they arrived and getting light when they left. They were gone by 7 a.m. I mean, they didn't find the bodies till 8 o'clock.
She's deluded, yeah? I met her when I moved back to Essex. Somebody knocked all my teeth out with a knuckle duster, a geezer, and I went back with her, and I was on CCTV, but they never found it. And I went away in 2020 for imitation of a firearm, because it was a lighter. And Melanie Monk was living down Seaforth Road in Westleaf, right near where it happened. And I see her, and she couldn't believe it was me, because everyone thought I was getting buried. My whole family thought I was dead for 8 years. I went underground in London, yeah. But Melanie Monk Melanie Spunk, yeah. She was beautiful back in the day, but I don't know if you've seen her recently. She looks like Deirdre out of Coronation Street, like and she comes out of all this bullshit, but she's never said anything near me because she knows that I was actually there, but she makes out. How could old Bill? She fucking remembered a lot, didn't she?
Well,
Bernie.
why would they go to her?
Exactly, unless she knows something that we don't.
Yeah.
No, I mean with old Bill, yeah.
But they weren't found till 8 o'clock.
So this is a delusional dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you remember her boyfriend, Gary? Pat used to visit him he visited him in prison. I mean,
What, Kilgore?
is that his name?
When I used to visit him in Bullingdon, I used to go in, the screws used to turn to the left, and I went around and give lines of coke to people in the visiting room. That's how much sway he had, yeah? And Kilgore, because Kilgore lives down here, yeah? And he's had a stroke, so he's fucked now. And I remember him saying to me, go and give Gary a couple of lines. So this is in Bullingdon fucking visiting room, yeah? Not one screw attempted anything, do you know what I mean? And I'm going around giving prisoners lines of coke in my little Chanel suit and fucking, if it must be Kilgore, it must be Kilgore.
Because was he going out with Monk at one stage?
I think so, I can find out for you.
Well, it's not important, because I was told a story where Pat went to visit him and he was doing coke in the visiting room.
No, that's what I'm telling you now.
No, but I was told that prior to that, when he was visiting Kilgore, right? So it might be another time.
Kilgore was in the jail with him.
And then Pat slept with that Monk.
I think she sucked his cock a couple of times.
Too much detail.
Sorry.
And
I don't think she was that involved with him.
Yeah.
She was there before I come on the scene, really, I think.
HMP Elmley, I was told he was visiting.
No, the only situation with cocaine on the visiting rooms, I can't see Pat going to visit someone and unless it would have been Tony, and he wouldn't put himself in a situation like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just to give somebody quite insignificant compared to where they were. Yeah, that's the Gary that I gave coke to, because Tony took me up there.
Well, and Marie, how did you get on with Marie?
We went to visit her.
Was that on her birthday?
No, one time was Christmas, because I remember.
Yeah, I'll come to Christmas in a bit. But
he didn't get on very well, because I think he held resentments toward her. I remember.
Oh, why do you think that was?
I don't know.
He had a bit of a shit childhood, didn't he?
Yeah, I know about his childhood. I know everything about him.
So it might have been that, you don't know, do you? I mean, we're all complicated people, aren't we?
Yeah.
Did you ever go out with Tucker's Mrs. Anna? Not just with her, but like in a group.
I used to go around the house, and he'd leave me with Anna.
How did you get on with her?
We'd take a pill. The last time they come in and me and Anna were playing footsies, like off Anna on pills, like playing like footsies, you know, like kids do. I got on alright with her, but she was a bit snooty. It was not like, she thought she was a bit better than everyone else. I think where I was more boisterous, the other girls, like, they couldn't handle me because Pat spoke quite highly of me. Do you know what I mean? And then the people that wanted, that's why I know people hold grudges, the people that hold grudges against me. Because if you've not noticed, I'm the only one who's not come out and sold a story. Do you know what I mean? When I could have sold a lot more detailed shit than everyone else. I just run for the hills, Bernard.
This is a bit of a... I'll try and phrase it so I don't insult you or annoy you. It was alleged that you and Pat slept in Nipper's bed and he burnt his bed in. went off his head.
We had the room at the back.
So that ain't true, no.
No. And even if he did, have what?
No, but Pat was laughing because Nipper burnt his bedding.
No.
Where else?
I was there a lot at that flat in Leigh-on-Sea, and Nipper, Pat took him under his wing basically, and he got so resentful with me being with him so much, he wasn't needed anymore because I was advising him, and the advice that I gave him was always better than what Nipper could give him, and he'd rather have an 18-year-old little salt next to you giving you good advice than a big airy ass geezer who don't know what they're really talking about.
Check. Can you remember that when it came to getting rid of Nipper? Was it a build-up or just spur of the moment?
I remember the phone call. I remember what the final insult. We was out at a club, and you know you couldn't talk to no one outside the firm, but Pat knew I loved to dance, so I was dancing on the dance floor right next to where they was all stood by the up here. I was dancing on the dance floor. I peeled up off my nut, and Nipper come along and threw water at me, and then all of a sudden you see these hands come out. They grabbed him and pulled him back into where they all were, and he got a beating. And he'd already been warned prior to not disrespect me, because he was giving me like backhanded insults, trying to make it look like a joke when it was personal. And Pat actually pulled him and said, "Listen, you're not going to get another warning, because if you're disrespecting her, you're disrespecting me." And then there's the phone call, and somehow I can't remember how I heard this information, but I heard that he said, "I knew there was something different by the way Pat spoke to me." Now, that phone call was made in the kitchen. There was like an island in the kitchen, like by the hallway, and there was a phone there. You know, the ones that you put up, big aerials. And he said, like, there was no fucking Pat and Tony pulling up with shooters, like threatening to abduct the sister and chop her arm off or something like that. It was purely to get told, put in his place and fucked off.
You remember going to a party and they had some coke and they went back to some flat, I don't know whose flat it was.
Is it on the seafront?
And there was two girls there from Adley Stafford's hairdressers, and Pat allegedly had a coke sniffing contest with you.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That weren't done. That was. I had a coke sniffing contest. It wasn't with Pat. It was with. I swear it was Nipper, but it wasn't Pat.
No.
No, because Pat. I remember Pat grabbing me and putting me over his shoulder and said, "Enough's enough now." Yeah. Like, it started off as a little joke, but they didn't think I'd take it as far as that.
You did, yeah.
I did, and Pat weren't happy about it.
And can you remember a big outdoor dance event down in Kent? I mean, imagine it would have been Leeds Castle.
I think that's the one where he threw water at me.
Is it? And Leach was there in a leather trousers and jacket, a waistcoat.
I remember Dave Courtney, because his wife Jennifer had an identical twin sister. Yeah, I remember that we was out with them one night, and Pat didn't. He was like, "Fucking mum," or whatever. He said, "But this business or whatever." Yeah, he always put a smile on his face, and just if it done the business or like their businesses or whatever. But I know a lot of the people, like he didn't really get on with Craig, because and Colton was Tony's friend, because Colton, Pat didn't really know him. He didn't really like him that much either. Do you know what I mean? And there was only one Essex boy, and that was Pat, because Tony and Vinny were out hand in hand. I can't believe I'm doing this.
When did you hear about him getting shot by a nipper? Who told you about that, Ed? When did
I
you
think
know?
I got picked up. I got picked up and taken to the hospital because he was in Billericay Burns unit at first, and I was there. First of all, he was on a ward, yeah, before he was in the private room, and I don't know what was going on, alright, but he got put in a private room anyway because he was saying I want a private room, and then he said to me, listen, this ain't right, yeah, this is a setup. He said, because if someone takes aim on someone's life, there's meant to be police protection, even though I don't want the cunts here. He said, but none of that has been even mentioned, yeah? So it was like a big setup. And the nurse who found the gun, that was in a black leather trench coat hanging up to the side of his bed. And it was clean. That's why I think he only got a year, wasn't it? He got 1 year for that, being in the hospital bed, because in case anyone come back for him. But I stayed there most nights. Sometimes when Sarah come up, I'd have to go. Like one time, me and Sarah turned up on the same day at Chelmsford, and like Tony and someone else had to get me like away. But,
So where did that gun come from? From someone Pat knew or from Tucker? Because Marie blamed Tucker, didn't she?
Yeah, I think it was just put there for his protection.
Yeah, fair enough.
I stayed there most nights. One thing with Pat, when we used to go to sleep, I used to have to stay awake, and that's how much he trusted me. I had to wait for him to go to sleep before I could go to sleep, in case anything happened. I was on alert. By the time I'd been with him a few months, I was like a fucking cartel bird. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember, what was his fucking name? John Moody,
Yeah, I do remember that.
the boxer,
Yeah.
in the Castle pub.
I don't know about pubs and places, but I remember him.
Yeah.
I used to meet when he was in Bullingdon. I used to meet a prison guard that was a gym prison guard, and he used to take things in for Pat. And we used to meet on the A127, either at the halfway house or what's the other one?
Fortune of War.
Yeah, one of them we used to pull in at and then not just car by car, money, blah blah, whatever.
Christmas Day at Paula's, 1994.
Who said this?
No, I'm saying you went to Marie's on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And there was Marie, Adele, and someone called Angie.
No, it's just me, Pat, and Marie. There weren't no one else.
All right. Wasn't Pat in jail then, no?
No. Christmas. No, he didn't. The only time he went to prison was for that gun when I was with him.
Oh, when he got out in the October, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was with him 24/7. Do you know what I mean? So. It was so. Looking back, there was so much resentment towards him, yeah, and jealousy, that I know in my mind, yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but all these things that people are saying allegedly happened is absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you've been told.
Well, I don't believe anyone.
No.
Never have, and let's see it with my own eyes. But if someone wants to tell a story or their story, then that's a matter for them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. It's not for me to
I
say.
just want to clear his name because
yeah.
To me, I was treated like a queen, yeah? we used to go to my nan's most Sundays, and it bummed my nan and Wanna, and like we'd have Sunday dinner there. My nan and granddad knew him, and my granddad's a highly religious man, and in the beginning he didn't like him because but he ended up because he was quite charismatic. Do you know what I mean? He knew my whole family. My mum met him. My little brother, he's 29 now. He was a baby at the time. No one could get him to sleep, but Pat picked him up and got him to sleep. Do you know what I mean? So it's I had a bit of a different...
Yeah, view of him, yeah.
Not even that.
Inside.
Yeah, and I see a different side to what some people might have seen. But not only that, Sarah even turned up at my house when Jordan was 3, down Argyle Road, and asked me, she come in, and she said, look, I know he has his little tarts, but I know this is different. And she brought Jordan along, basically, leave him alone, otherwise you're going to break up a family or whatever. But then he used to go home, but then he'd be back within an hour saying, fucking, don't stop nagging, do you know what I mean? So, and then that's how I ended up getting a lot closer to him than anybody else.
Well, what about when he fell out with his mother? Can you remember that? Because his mother claims he used to walk around with a note in her pocket saying if anything happens to me. That's what she said in the newspaper.
I didn't know nothing about that. I know that she, I know he said, I don't, my mum used to make us do things when we were young. I assume burglaries. I think he actually said
Thank God for that.
Yeah, no, but I don't, listening now and hearing what's been said, I think the burglary, it wasn't burglaries, I think it was something else.
Sexual?
Well, he didn't like her, he told me, I don't like my mum. And that's for some, I knew a lot about him, do you know what I mean? Little things, devil's in the detail, things that none of these other people would know. And for somebody to say they don't like their mum, because before we walked in he said, listen babe, don't like her, if it weren't if it weren't for her, she made us do burglaries and that when we was young, yeah? So he went, I wouldn't be like this if it weren't for her, sort of thing. And the guy, the messages, this is how I know he knew, he wrote down saying something like, what was it? You know a lot about Pat, don't you? But then when I was coming off with things, it must have blown whoever's mind. Because look how I come back with you. It's little details, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know I'm not bullshitting.
No.
Because I get emotional over this. Because I was 18. I was the right age, and the other women that I'd ever seen him with, because my way of thinking was, he's looking after me like a queen. I don't give a fuck what he does. I know he has his little tarts, but I'm treated like a queen, yeah? He'll always come back to me. But they was never 15, 16, these sort of ages. That's what's blown my mind. When I see Nonce, all these years later, I've only just heard that's what's going about. I didn't know that.
In fairness to Pat, no one's told me he was with a 15-year-old girl, you know?
No, I was 18. I was 18 and up.
Lizzie Fletcher's about the youngest. I think she was 17.
I don't know. I just looked off, and I was looked after. I had people driving me about. If I wanted to go shopping, I was treated like a fucking queen. Do you know what I mean? Even when he first went to prison, people would come and drop off money or keep their eye out on me. Do you know what I mean?
Was that a big deal for him, the thing with his mother, whatever it was? Did it trouble him, or was it just, you just said it once and that was it?
No, it did trouble him.
Troubled him?
Yeah. He something went down, something bad. Do you know what I mean? And
I don't think burglars would trouble him.
No, not as an adult now, and hearing this, no. Because I've cut off from it. I get very emotional when I speak about it, and I think I'm the only one who does, because everyone else is doing it for their own reasons. Do you know what I mean? And I don't really want to write a book. I don't want to do nothing like that because my memories are my memories. But what I wanted to do was get the facts out there that I don't care about Tony, what Tony was doing. All I know was Donna with the brown hair and Anna with the missus who lived at home. That they're the two birds that I met. And I didn't know anything about fucking 15-year-olds. I didn't know Tony met her at that age.
What, it's contagious, your bad memory.
I just come
So
out
what do you think Pat